Hello, my name is Mark Anthony Dubose Jr., and I was born July 4th of 1986. And going on a walk that turned into a run today just really got me thinking a lot about just being blessed and just being happy and satisfied and realizing how to be able to get to that point and how to be able to stay in that situation. And something I want to read today in the book of, I don't know why, but it's just something that obviously I want to read. In the book of Deuteronomy, I'll get that name someday, sometime. But the 28th chapter. This is a very interesting chapter because it goes through a little bit about the blessings of obedience, but then it goes to the curses of disobedience, and it goes, I mean, this is like to a whole lot, 4 times more. But the blessings for obedience is something that I want to read today because that's all that in reality you should be paying attention to. Who cares what's going to happen to the ones that don't want to pay attention? Who cares what's going to happen to them? Knowing that it's not going to be a great thing that God is trying to do and move and be about on this planet. That he wants you to be in his good grace. He wants you to be in his blessings. And then being in his blessings is by one, staying and sticking by his commands that he's given us and staying and sticking by the laws that he's given us to be able to live by, to be able to really understand ourselves and understand other people. They're laws that are able to just free us up to be able to just have a nice, peaceful, a joyful experience on this planet without having to have any rage in you and any hate and any frustration and any depression, any anxiety, and to be able to get away from those things, because this Bible really does teach you how to be able to just, I guess cope would be a word, but not really a good word, but how to be able to cope out here and deal with some things that when tragic does come to you, because it's going to, it's just what it is. It's just the pressure of the world, the pressure of everything out here, the literal pressure. I just can't get off that concept in my mind of knowing that we literally do have pressure that's put upon us to force us to stay down, that everything goes down. So if everything is going down and it's not so easy to just float up and float away, there's going to be stuff that's going to come to you that's just out of your control. That's just outside world is going to come into you. You can't isolate yourself, get yourself away, be so far away that the outside world is not going to affect you. That someone or one of my neighbors can be doing something right now that could be affecting me and my future of where it is that I'm going to be able to go and what my, say, freedoms will be in the future. That someone else, somewhere else has the authority in reality to move and maneuver me in ways that I don't say I agree with, but I just have to go along with it because it's just what it is. And when you are living in a world where you think that no one should mess with you and you should just be able to have a free reign to do and say and be how you want, you're gonna come to realize real quick that that's just not the case. Something that I've come to realize with watching some people's stuff on the YouTube, that everyone's trying to change up their language to like be in the right with what the new, our new normal is today, of not being able to say the truth, not being able to say what it is that's really going on. Because you run in a situation that nowadays we're in this thing of if I mean, even what I read here in reality, it's considered hate. It's hate towards another person because they should be able to do what they want. They should be able to be how they want. They should be able to live how they want. So the hate that someone might perceive that's coming out of this book because you just want to live in ways of disobedience that God is going to move and do, that you feel that pressure that God is putting on you. That's why this whole section of this chapter is talking about the disobedience, and the disobedience and what he says that he's going to do to people is what I see, is how I see people are trying to live today, based on the actions that you're doing and the things that you're trying to do to force everyone else to, in reality, be in that same level of disobedience with you, as opposed to just getting out of disobedience and moving into the obedience level. Why would you want everyone to be living in an evil world as opposed to having everyone live in a good world? But it seems like today it's a push to convince everyone to stay in evil. And the more and more that everyone out here is just trying to limit what they say and trying to beat around the bush with the words and the topics and the language, the more you're just giving into evil. And when you're going to constantly keep giving into the evil, you're doing exactly what our Bible states to not do. That when you believe in what you believe in and you believe in it truly and you believe in it because you've seen it, you witnessed it, you have experience with it, you understand God, you felt them, same things have happened to you in your life. Don't try to push it off to the side because of what society wants to say about it. Don't try to run away because society doesn't appreciate and agree with your message. You got to keep on and stay on what you want to stay on and have faith knowing that everything is going to be okay. The faith is where you really need to start shining. But I just want to read here in the first chapter, not the first chapter. Oh, that was loud. Oh, they're hitting my bird feeder. That's what's going on. The 28th chapter of the first verse of Deuteronomy. If you fully obey the Lord, your God, and carefully follow all his commands I give you today, the Lord your God will set you high above all the nations on the earth. All these blessings will come on you and accompany you if you obey your God, the Lord your God. You will be blessed in the city and blessed in the country. The fruit of your womb will be blessed, and the crops of your land, and the young of your livestock, the calves of your herds, and the lambs of your flocks. Your baskets and your kneading thorough will be blessed. You will be blessed when you come in, and you will be blessed when you go out. The Lord will grant that your enemies who rise up against you will be defeated before you, that they will come at you from one direction, but flee from you in seven. The Lord will send a blessing on your barns and on everything you put in your hand to. The Lord your God will bless you in the land he is giving you. The Lord will establish you as his holy people, as he promised you on oath. If you keep the commands of the Lord your God and walk in obedience with him, then all the peoples in the earth will see that you are called by the name of the Lord, and they will fear you. The Lord will grant you abundant prosperity in the fruit of your womb, in the young of your livestock, and the crops of your ground. In the land he swore to your ancestors, he will give you. The Lord will open the heavens, the storehouse of his bounty, to send rain on your land in season and to bless all the work of your hands. You will lend to many nations, but will borrow from none. The Lord will make you the head, not the tail. If you pay attention to the commands of the Lord, your God, that I give you this day, and clearly follow them, you will always be at the top, never at the bottom. Do not turn aside from any of the commands I give you today, to the right or to the left, following other gods and serving them. So he says all that, and in reality, I just want to read this so that we all have a very good, clear understanding of exactly what these commands are. If you just never heard of it and you don't know. And even though I've read this multiple times, and actually I went way too far. So we're in Exodus 20. And God spoke all these words, I am the Lord your God, who brought you out of Egypt and out of the land of slavery. You shall not have no other gods before me. You shall not make for yourself an image in the form of anything in heaven above, or on the earth beneath, or in the waters below. You shall not bow down to them or worship them. For I, the Lord your God, am a jealous God, punishing the children of the sins of the parents to the third and fourth generation of those who hate me, but showing love to 1,000 generations of those who love me and keep my commands. You shall not misuse the name of the Lord your God, for the Lord will not hold anyone guiltless who misuses his name. Remember the Sabbath day and keeping it holy. 6 days you shall labor and do all your work, but the seventh day is a Sabbath to the Lord your God. On it you shall not do any work, neither you nor your son or daughter, nor your male or female servant, nor your animals, nor any foreigners residing in your towns. On the sixth day the Lord made the heavens and the earth, the sea, and all that is in them, but he rested on the seventh day. Therefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and made it holy. Honor your father and mother, so that you may live long in the land of the Lord your God is giving you. You shall not murder. You shall not commit adultery. You shall not steal. You shall not give false testimony against your neighbor. You shall not covet your neighbor's house. You shall not covet your neighbor's wife, or his female or male or female servant, his ox or donkey, or anything that belongs to your neighbor. That's the commandments. And there's also laws in here, but that can be a topic for another day, at another time in reality, because that's something that gets into further and further detail that is nothing that is in reality any different than those 10 commandments. All the laws that come in this are just stating more of, giving you more of an explanation of each one, giving you more of an understanding of each one. Sorry, I got a cow that was yelling at me, but I don't know where she went. And that's the main thing. And it's interesting in here because I think it was said 3 times. 3 times it says to keep the commands of the Lord your God. 3 times it states that over and over in such a short time. And multiple, I'd have to do a word search, but hearing that and reading the word commands, is something that is stated, I mean, an abundance amount of times, that the Lord doesn't bless you before you start to follow his commands. He blesses you after you start to follow his commands. And the reason that the Lord is going to do such a thing, or God is going to do such a thing for you, because you're being obedient to him. And as long as you're being obedient to him, you're going to run into the situation that he's going to start to be able to bless you in ways that people just aren't quite going to be able to understand. He's going to start to put a glow, a shine upon you that others are going to hate you for it in reality. They're just not going to understand it. And the reason that they're going to hate, the reason that they're going to have so much negative to say to you, because they see what they want to do, but they just don't do. It's not even that they can't do, it's just they don't do. When you just don't do something, you have it in you to try to put so much hate out there. And that's why we got all this stuff that's going on today about me reading this Bible. And someone would say that I have hate in me for believing that. But it's a matter of you trying to put and make me hate because you hate. And that's just not going to happen. I'm never going to look at the world that way. I'm never going to dislike somebody because of what their color is. I'm never going to dislike somebody because of what their gender is. I'm never going to dislike somebody because of what their age is. I'm never going to dislike anybody or for any situation. I don't care where you came from. I don't care what you've done. I don't care where you're about to go. I don't care any of that. None of that is of any difference of how I'm going to treat you. I'm not going to look at you poorly. I'm not going to look at you as you're less than. I'm not going to look at you as you're nothing. That's not for me to worry about. That's for God to do. And if you want to understand what God is going to do if you don't want to be obedient to him, read the remainder of that. It's some sketchy stuff, but in reality, it's the exact opposite of the way he's going to bless you. I'm just going to curse you in all your works. I'm going to curse you in all your flocks. I'm going to curse you. And it just goes deep and deep and deep in detail, like so much detail that it almost kind of like can scare you in a way. But for me, I don't get scared and I don't even care to read it again because I already know which side of it that I want to be upon. I'm realizing that if I just stick by the commandments that God has given me, that he's going to be able to give me better opportunity, that what I work upon is going to work out for me. That's something that I'm going to say is I used to say this to a lot of people. And it's something I was thinking about today, working with some people. And I think it's the main reason why, for me, I'm sitting here like growing my hair and doing what I'm doing. Because people have this like stigmatism of like people get treated a certain way because of what you look like and how you dress and how you are. And I'm going to say to you, no, they care about what your character is all about. They may have, what do you call it? What's that word to use? They may have something to put upon you when they first see you. With that first sight, they're just like, oh, look at that guy. But as soon as you start speaking, as soon as you start doing, that they're going to instantly like forget about everything that they used to think about and say, wow, you know what you're talking about. You know what you're doing. And something I keep finding myself into that and realizing why certain things I do just work out. But then I realized why everything just would start to fail and everything would just start to fall apart because I wasn't being obedient. I would always say this a lot. Like I would just work so hard at certain things, trying to create this business, try to create this and do this and do this. And I could just fail, just fail. But in reality, I was breaking 100% of the commands, trying to force myself out there to make something work, as opposed to it working because God is blessing me to be able to do it, realizing that what I'm doing is for the greater good of everyone else around me and not just for my own self. And that's when things are going to start to be able to change for me and things are going to start to be able to be in a different situation for me. Like, it's wild. It's wild to me today, the differences of how I think about what I want to do and where I want to go. I've got a building back here that, I don't know if you can see it on this video or not. Yeah, I got a building right there that it's just been sitting there all along. And then I just got it in me for some reason recently to just like, I want to put a little tiny house in there and put a bathroom in there, a little kitchenette, and just have an open little bed and just something for somebody to live in. Because if I run into a situation and I see somebody, I hear someone that's just hurting and struggling right now, I want to be able to have a place for them to be able to stay and comfortably be able to stay. I want to be able to have an abundance of food just sitting around, laying around, so that I can constantly be able to feed someone, or even a family can even fit in there for just, you know, the short term, trying to make stuff work. Or I could just switch. You take the house and I'll take the small spot because it's easier. I'd rather clean less anyways. Cleaning that whole house can just, it's, in my opinion today, the way I look at life, it's a waste of hours, 2-3 hours every week, sometimes more, to clean that house. It's just a waste of my life that I was just like, I'd rather do something else than just clean this big plate. It's just, it's meaningless to me today. So that's why I've really like, I just want to downsize. But I look at the world today as, look, I got another spot over there. I don't know if you can see that spot over there. I got another spot that's way down. It's a covering. I do a lot of videos over there, so you probably understand if you've ever seen a video of mine before. But it's got a cover in it. I was just like, man, I just want to get a little RV and just stick it in there. And it's already got a thing. I can shelter it and put an RV so someone else could be able to live there. If I hear that someone is struggling, someone is hurting, someone is in need, someone just doesn't know how to make it to their next steps, they just need a break for a little bit. They need to be able to recoup. They need to be able to find a place, don't have to worry about no water bill, rent bill, food bill, lights bill, nothing, no sewer bill. What else we got out there? Heat, gas bill. Don't worry about no nothing for just a couple days or even a month to just recoup and get back out there and do what you got to do. My mind is just going more towards thinking about stuff like that to be able to do for people. And that's why for me, I realize like the things that I'm working on now, they're actually like following through. I'm no longer thinking of just, I want this for me. I want this for me. I want this. I'm trying to get this. I want these shoes. I want this jacket. I want this. My mind is just like, I don't care. I got stuck in trying to find, because I need some new boots, because I literally ran through them. They talking, if you know what I mean, with shoes that be talking. They yelling at me, they actually screaming, they ain't talking. They broke to the point that they screaming at me. And I'm just sitting there looking at them, I'm just like, who cares? Just get what you need to get and get back out there and do what you need to do. That it doesn't matter, it's absolutely meaningless. It's just an interesting of just the differences of how I look at the world when I start to do my best and do everything I can to just study and go by the commands of God by constantly every single day, multiple times a day, just going over it and seeing where I'm failing at, seeing where I'm having fault at, and then going through it and then going through my day when I'm looking at something and then just stop and just, am I not doing right? Am I going against? Am I doing something in disobedience right now? And just asking and trying to find clarification for it. And then if I'm confused about something, just going further and further into the Bible, of studying more to figure out exactly like where it is I am failing at, so that I can get better with it to know what it is I need to do. A lot of times we're out here doing what we're doing and we just don't quite know, and we're doing wrong and we don't realize that it's wrong, because today everything is just so normal that's wrong. And we need to figure out how to be able to get away from such things like that. That we need to get into the good stuff instead of doing the bad stuff that we all just want to do because it's just, it's easy to do. And the only time that you're going to start to be able to find and be able to get and be able to have the blessings that you're looking for in this life is by living by the commands that God has given us. And it's something that he's requiring for us to do. It's something that he's desiring, he's mandated. He's not giving us an option. He's not giving us a choice. He's not giving us a say-so. He said, you're doing this. And you can't say, oh, I just will give false testimony here and there to somebody and I'll be all right. No, you can't ever do it. Period. Zero. You can't just say, I'll just steal a little bit now because, you know, no one's looking. No one can see me, so I'm just going to take a little. No, you can just stop. Never do it. You can't do it in the open, and you can't do it in private. You got to be very, very clear about making sure that you're doing what you can to live by what God is looking for us to be able to do. He promises and gives us such amazing blessings. He promises and gives us stuff that is just absolutely amazing. He promises us things that is just, that another human out here just can't possibly be able to do for you. Only you can just do for yourself. And then you got to realize to stop trying to, I got a kid missing. Then you got to realize to stop trying to think that someone else is going to be able to bring to you your happiness and your peace and your joy. It's you that's going to do it. And that's why the world is going to hate you when they see that you're doing something different, because they know what they need to do. It's in their heart. They know it. They know that they need to change. They know that they need to get away from something. They know they need to stop doing something. They know they need to just absolutely quit, run away, and never do it again. But they don't do it because it's so easy to keep doing it. And it's really, really hard to get onto the commands to be able to understand who God is. And it's only hard for us today because we've been just getting so far away from it. Where the day that, no, I can't even say that, because in reality, it took 40 days for them to already disrespect and disobey God when he gave them those commands. It took less than, I don't know if it was 40 in total, but it took less than 40 days for them to just already go against. So it's something hard to do. It's something that it's going to be work for us that we have to keep on working upon ourselves, because it's so easy to go to the negative stuff. It's so easy to go to the bad stuff. It's so easy to just backslide and just want to be just so disobedient. It's so easy. And there's something about that lets us know where we're going to be able to go into the future. That it's not just a matter of, I believe in Jesus and you're good to go. No, there's some things that are required upon you when you want to even think to say that Jesus is here to be able to save you and to be able to be with you and to be able to understand you. There's some things required. And please, if you don't understand that, I'm telling you, read the book. Read the book. Don't listen to what this pastor got to say, what that pastor got to say. Read the book for yourself. Read it. Because I'm telling you, you can't hide the fact that God states if I had to put a number on it, it's hundreds of times that he states in this Bible to keep my commands and keep my commands. I'm going to do a word search on that tonight. It's hundreds of times that that's stated. It wouldn't be insignificant. And it's not only just stated in the Old Testament, but it's also stated so many times in the New Testament. And it's stated so many times that Jesus himself was saying to keep the commands and not to steer away from them, to keep the commands and keep the commands, keep the commands and keep the commands. Keep the commands. It's stated over and over. You can't hide that. As much as somebody would want to try to dance around, because it's what they do today. They dance around the Bible, use this verse, this verse, this verse, this verse. But if you just read one chapter, the one I just read there 3 times alone in just a half of a page, and there's 1,000+ pages in this book. So that's 1,000 back and forth. So there's 2,000 forward-facing pages, and I read a half of one, and it said keep the commandments 3 times in it. How many more times do you think it said? You can't hide and run from it. But people today want to hide and run from it because they want to teach you the message of how to feel good right now, and that's the message of the devil. That's the enemy. That's all of just the wickedness. That's all of evil. And when someone is living in evil, even though they know how to be able to get out of it, and they realize that it's just hard for them, they're going to try to convince and get everyone else to follow them to be able to do that same thing. They want everyone else to be in that same evil. They want everyone else to be in that same disaster. They want everyone else to be just falling apart and having depression and being in anxiety and feeling worthless and meaningless and not knowing what you are and who you are and what you represent and anything like that. They want you to just stay lost and stay broken. I'm telling you, those people will stand up on those podiums and try to smile and act like their lives are so great, but they're preaching and teaching a message to you that's giving you an absolute, the wrong message, the wrong thing, the not being able to help you. If you've been going somewhere and you're not getting what it is you're looking for, if you've had a family member in your life pass away and you just can't get past that grieving, you're just stuck, you're just, you can't function. And you started going to alcohol, you went to drugs, you're going to things and you're struggling to the point that all that, and then now you're homeless. If you've been going to a church and they're not communicating to you to be able to help you to be able to get out of that, but yet they're just asking you every single day, we need some money, we need some money, we need some money. You need to just run the heck away from there, because the church should be showing and guiding and teaching you how to be able to get out of these things. It should be teaching you how to be able to heal yourself. It should be teaching you how to be able to live a life to be able to find that peace, how to be able to grieve, how to be able to forgive, how to be able to move through, how to be able to quit your addictions, how to be able to find what it is that you're looking for. That's what the Bible is teaching us how to be able to do. And if you're not getting that, I'm telling you, you're getting information from somebody who's trying to keep you worse than where you started. That you're already hurting and struggling. Now they're giving you a message to make you feel good for 10 minutes, take your money in 15 minutes, and then in an hour, you're still just as bad, if not worse at this point, because you start to get this extra guilt in you like, I needed that money, you know? I could have bought some food. I could have done this, and I gave that money up because that pastor was just, he was calling, you know, God was calling me to give this money. And then you're sitting there with nothing. You had no food, you had no nothing. So now you're no longer just only grieving, you can't get past. You're depressed and you can't get past. Now you're broken grieving. Now you're broken depressed. Now you're just gonna feel double worse. That you think that you need to go back again to get like another dose of feel good for 10 minutes. That's not at all what this Bible is all about. It's not at all what this Bible represents. It's not at all what this Bible teaches. This Bible teaches us how to be able to get past and be able to get through and be able to find that peace. And it all starts with living by the commandments that God has given us, that is stated over and over and over in the book, but it's stated in what is that, Exodus 20 and Deuteronomy, I think it's in 30 something. It's stated twice, full laid out. And then throughout the remainder of the Bible, it gives you a little here and a little there and a little here and a little there, over and over. And that's something that we have to stay with. And that's why you're going to be able to have the blessings that God is going to be able to bring to you. And that's why you're going to have people just look at you and just be very confused on how and whys and what's, because they're not able to do because they just don't want to do. Not that they can't do. And that's something that I'm going to tell you is probably the one thing that really makes a lot of people mad on this planet, is just knowing what they need to do, but just not doing it. That frustrates the heck out of people, because it deep down inside of you, you know how to fix it, but yet you got the answers, but yet you just don't want to do it. And that's that extreme amount of disobedience. That's that extreme amount of just the world taking control and consuming you, thinking that this alcohol is going to make you feel good and these drugs are going to make you feel good and all these little things are going to make you feel good. And it's all an illusion. It's all an illusion. And it's hard to get out of those things. I'm going to tell you it is. But it's harder to stay in it and keep going worse and worse and worse. That's harder to do. That's way harder to do. And it's just going to keep driving you and driving you and driving you down. And you're going to be to the point that it's just so damaging. It's so damaging to you. And I want to be able to say something to you to be able to help you be able to get out of that. And I know that the only way to be able to get out of that is by living by the commands that God has given us, studying the laws that He has, that He straight said to Moses, I'm telling you, all the laws are on point with the commands as well. It's just a further breakdown. It's nothing that is just like crazy. It's nothing where you got to pray this and this and this. You got to set this altar up. It's nothing like that. It's just paying very, very close attention to making sure that we're praying to God, that we're looking for God, we're seeking God, we're desiring God, and we're taking care of one another out here in a way of realizing that we're not going to hate, I'm not going to discriminate, I'm not going to destroy, I'm not going to do anything too. God will do that if need be. But for me, that's not for me to have to worry about. Me to say what I need to say, to give the correction, to give the, rebuke, to give my testimony out, to be able to convince people to get away from what they're doing. But it's not for me to force them to change and force them to do anything. They're going to do what they're going to do. And it's something that's it's just the beauty, I'm going to say, is what this life is all about. I don't need to get in an argument with somebody because you don't agree with me and you don't believe me. I'm not going to get in an argument with you for saying, oh no, Mark, I don't need to believe or do the commandments. I just know Jesus and I'm good to go. I'm not going to argue with you. I'm just going to say, okay, then you clearly just haven't read the text, but go ahead and keep doing what you're doing. I'm not going to allow you to try to change me and convert me from reading what it is that I already just know. If it's stated and you're going by and saying that I go by the Bible, I go by the book, but yet you're not doing it, that's where I'm going to just like, okay, just do what you do over there, man. I'm going to actually go by what the book is stating for me to do, to be able to get what the book is stating for me to be able to get. It tells me what to do and it tells me what I'm going to get. And it's simple to be able to understand. And it's something that I want more people to be able to just be able to get a better listening ear to be able to really realize what is true and what is right, and get away from this just madness that's trying to make you feel good for 10 minutes. I want you to, and God wants you to feel good for the remainder of your life. He wants you to learn and know how to be able to take care of things when just stuff happens to you, when the pressure happens, when things from the outside world come. If someone wants to come on our land right now and try to enslave us and tells me I can't leave the property, I got to stay here, how to handle that, how to be able to deal with that. Because that's out there. I can't control what's out there. I can only control what's in my mind and in me. And when I'm controlling in my mind and in me and keeping it right and doing what it is that I need to do, I'm telling you, God said your enemies are not going to come. They're going to run away 7 different ways. They're not going to be able to come to you, not going to be able to mess with you, not going to be able to do anything to you. It's such an interesting thing where you see crazy stuff that goes on and just how certain things get missed. It's like there's tragic all around, and then that one just got missed, and that one got missed, and that one got missed. And you're just like, how the heck did that happen? And I'm going to say that's what I'm going to say are the miracles of God, that he knows which ones to let go and which ones to put pressure on and put more and more pressure on. And it's just such an interesting thing that I greatly appreciate being able to be out here and being able to do what it is that I do. And with that, I just want to say I'm very much thankful. Thank you for today and what I was able to do today and where I was able to go today, that I would want more people to just read the book some more, because I'm telling you, the more and more that you start reading some stuff, the more and more excited you get about trying to get further and further into it. The more and more excited you get about trying to ask some more questions. And when you ask more questions, you start finding some new answers. When you get those answers, you got some more questions. You're just going to keep on having questions for the remainder of your life. And majority of the questions that you're asking and looking for are within that Bible for you to be able to find out for yourself, that you don't even need to go anywhere else, that you just need to start asking the right questions. And when you start asking the right questions, the right answers are going to come, not the questions of just silliness. If you already know what 2 + 2 is, stop trying to find that answer. You already know what it is. So move on to the next question and move on to the next answers, and get away from the answers that you the answers that you already know. Move on to some new stuff and figure out some new stuff and find some new stuff and ask God for some new stuff. And that's going to be able to bring you the peace that you're looking for in your life. And I would hope that you would have it in you to know that God is here and He's working for you. But the only way that He can work for you is if you pay attention to His commands and you stay on with what it is that He's looking for from you. Thank you.